Hello, family. Angela Cage here with Cage Collaborations LLC. And today I want to talk to you about psychological safety. Now, I know the word psychological safety may be a foreign concept to you, but when we go over what the meaning and what psychological safety is all about, I'm sure that a lot of you will be able to relate and understand. So, the meaning of psychological safety is a belief that we will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with our ideas, our questions, our concerns, or about our mistakes. So, it's really a safe place where we are free to express ourselves, to feel, to learn, to do trial and error, to make mistakes. And psychological safety is so important because essentially it's a judgment free zone. So, I like my quotes, and I found a quote about psychological safety, and this is by Christine Porath. And the quote says, lacking a sense of psychological safety, people shut down, often without realizing it. They are less likely to seek or accept feedback and are also less likely to experiment, to discuss errors, and to speak up about the potential or actual problems. Now, a lot of times when psychological safety is thought about or discussed, it is thought of in the realm of the workplace. So if you make a mistake at work, you have psychological safety, you have the freedom to learn from your mistake, to talk about the mistake. Again, psychological safety at work. When you're talking about being on the team, you can speak up about whatever ideas you have. You can provide your input without being punished or feeling humiliated or that someone is going to shame you for the thoughts or whatever input that you had to add to whatever is being discussed. But psychological safety is so important, not only at work, but also in our personal lives. And that's what I want to focus on today. Being a safe place for the people around you and making sure that you're in a safe space because you need to feel free to express yourself. If something is bothering you, you need to feel freedom to speak up. You should not fear what someone is going to say. You should not fear their reaction. You should not be humiliated for expressing yourself in the way that feels comfortable for you. So the way that you can ensure that you have a safe space is to set boundaries. And I know for a lot of people, setting boundaries is difficult, but review some of the videos that I have here on the YouTube channel because I talk a lot about setting boundaries and how you can go about doing that. But one of the things that you really want to do is surround yourself with a village of people who are not going to judge you, who are going to give you the freedom to try new things, experiment, figure out what you like and what you don't like, speak up when you have something to say or when something is bothering you without fear of retribution, without fear of emotional abuse. And emotional abuse is if you were to say something and the person doesn't like what you have to say or they're bothered by it, they stop speaking to you for the rest of the day. That's a form of emotional abuse. They don't give you any indication of why they're not speaking to you. They withhold themselves from you. They withhold their love from you. They make it feel like it's contingent upon you doing what they want you to do or you doing what they deem is right. But you have the right and the authority to set a boundary. And if every time you speak up, someone says, that's dumb, or they're dismissive of you, or they find something negative to say about anything that you have to offer, that's not psychological safety. And again, you deserve to be in a space that's psychologically safe for you. So again, in a space where you have the freedom to speak your mind, to provide your input, to say what you want to say, as long as you're not harming others. But I do want to make a very important distinction. that with the village, we do want our village to provide a psychologically safe space for us, a space where we're free to live out loud and express ourselves. But we also want that village to provide us with constructive criticism. So what you need to ask yourself is when you're encountering someone and you think that they're being dismissive of you, or you think that they're being harsh on you, or you may even think that they're trying to humiliate you. Stop and think, is it truly humiliation or being dismissive or putting you down? Or are they giving you constructive criticism? And that's where you're going to have to really dig deep and look inside yourself, check your feelings, and really determine, is this person trying to say something that is going to better me in the future? Are they trying to edify me? Are they trying to build me up? Are they giving me some words of wisdom? It may not feel good. It's not comfortable to be criticized. It's not comfortable for someone to tell you that you're wrong, or to give you some type of pointers when you think you're great at something, or you think your idea is just the best. And someone may say, well, you may want to consider this, or, whatever the case may be. But I think it's really important to know the difference between someone who is really just being dismissive, diminishing you, trying to put you down, and someone who is giving you constructive feedback, constructive criticism, because essentially that person is not cutting you down. They are trying to build you up. They are trying to edify you. They are trying to get you to your next. They are trying to get you to a better you. So it's important that you learn that distinction. But if you evaluate what the situation, evaluate what's going on, and you really take a look at the situation, and you're saying, this person is not trying to build me up. Their comments are not encouraging. They do not make me want to strive for better. Then have that conversation with the person. I don't like when you say this. I don't like that when every time I offer something to the conversation, you have something negative to say behind it, or you smirk, or you roll your eyes, or you do something that devalues what I've offered into the conversation, the discussion, whatever the case may be. And you can let them know, I don't like it, and I would like for you to stop. And you give them the space to receive what you say and act accordingly. So in the next conversation, if they display the same behaviors, you can call them out on it. And you don't have to do it, embarrass them and do it in an open setting. You can pull them to the side. Hey, this is a prime example of what I was telling you about that I don't like, that makes me feel bad, that makes me feel less than, that you're doing. And this is the type of behavior that I want you to stop. Is that something that you can do? And if they say yes, then you give them the opportunity to show you that they can do it. And if ultimately they are just feeding you lip service and they don't plan to stop, then you have to decide what you're going to do. You have to set your boundary. And for me, that would be keeping my distance from that person. And that is not what I talked about before, that emotional abuse, because the person knows that you have brought to them that you don't like the behaviors that they're displaying toward you. So it's not like you're cutting yourself off and they have no idea why. They know. They know. And when you set your boundary, when you tell them that you don't like it, and you point it out when it continues, and you can let them know that if this doesn't stop, I'm going to have to distance myself from you. And I know a lot of people don't like having that hard conversation because it is uncomfortable. So if you don't feel comfortable with it, then maybe you can communicate it another type of way. I am big on communication. So if I think it's going to be productive, I will let someone know, like, hey, I'm going to have to, you know, keep my distance from you because it seems that you can't respect my boundaries. Sometimes you don't have that conversation. Sometimes you just have to just ease on into the background and create your distance and just keep them at arm's length. And they'll look up like, hey, I haven't talked to Angela in, 2, 4, 6 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then when they come back to me and say, hey, we haven't connected. I've reached out to you a couple times. You haven't responded. What's going on? I can say, do you remember that I set that boundary with you? And I told you that every time I offer something to the conversation, you roll your eyes, you smirk, or you say something negative behind it. And I didn't like that. That wasn't a psychologically safe space for me. So because it wasn't, I chose to surround myself with a village who is psychologically safe, where I can be free to express myself without judgment, without risk of being humiliated, or without risk of being punished in some sort of way. So because you couldn't do that, I had to keep my distance. And those are the type of conversations that I want you to get used to having, because people need clear and concise boundaries, and people need clear and concise communication. And it doesn't happen overnight. If communicating, having tough conversations is not easy for you, then practice it. Start small, and you may just, do it little by little, but don't suffer in silence. And you don't have to remain in a space that's not psychologically safe. And you know that I want you all to win. And by winning, that means you being free to express yourself, to bring up concerns, to have trial and error, to experiment with things that you want to experiment, to learn and grow, and to have a village around you that is going to nurture you and build you up. And if you want more information on the power or value of a nurturing village, go to the YouTube channel and check out that message. And again, I want you all to win. So create a space that's psychologically safe for others, and make sure that people are creating a space that's psychologically safe for you. Have a great day. I love you all always.